Welcome to Fake Love and Flying Monkeys, the podcast where fake love is exposed. I'm Nova Gibson and I am your host. I'm the principal counsellor at Brighter Outlook Narcissistic Abuse Counselling.com.au. This space is dedicated to helping you reclaim your worth and understand the impact of toxic relationships with suspected narcissists. You deserve clarity, healing, and freedom from the pain of fake love and flying monkeys. So please leave a review and grab a copy of my book, Fake Love, Understanding and Healing from Narcissistic Abuse. Let's uncover the truth and take back your power. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Fake Love and Flying Monkeys. In this episode, we are going to be talking about coercive control, which I believe goes hand in hand with narcissistic abuse. And we're going to be talking about it in the context of financial abuse. Coercive control is when the abuser, your abuser, seeks to dominate you and control you through fear of punishment. They want to control every part of your life and they coerce you into doing what they want in the beginning, especially until it becomes a behavior that you engage in because of the fear of the punishment if you do something different other than what they've conditioned you to do. So, for example, one that I use in my book, Fake Love, the narcissist takes you shopping for clothes in the beginning of the relationship, and it feels amazing. This person is interested in what I wear. Everyone's thinking, wow, you've got a pretty cool partner there who loves to go shopping for clothes with you. And it's fun even having this person go, yeah, that looks good. Yeah, no, I don't like that one so much. But it becomes control when it starts to have a negative impact on you and your self-esteem and your ability to make your own decisions when you go to choose your own clothes. So you come out wearing something that the narcissist hasn't approved of, and they give you that glare and they give you the silent treatment you've become used to. And what the narcissist has conditioned you to do, to believe, is to do exactly what they want in terms of asking their permission for what to wear, unless you want that punishment, which is torturous, the silent treatment. It doesn't have to involve hitting and physical abuse. That glare they give you, that eyebrow raise, is enough to change your behavior. So with that example, the coercive control began under the guise of caring, and this is why it is so hard for victims to define as abuse, because there was such a gradual decline into complete control, and they were coerced into doing what the narcissist wanted them to do through the punishments. But the punishments started off very small and increased in strength and the negative impact on your ability to make your own decisions. So with that example, again, you may have come out and chosen something for yourself without running it past the narcissist. And to begin with, they may have just had a little sulk, and that was enough for you to think, I've hurt their feelings because I didn't ask them. I know how important that is for me to run it by them. So the next time you ask their opinion on what you're wearing. But then later down the track, you choose what you want to wear for yourself again. And the punishment gets bigger. They give you the silent treatment for 2 days. And you can see where I'm going with this. The coercive control began with the narcissist engaging in that behavior because they care about you so much. The punishment when you tried to deviate and be independent, make your own decisions, started off very small, but increased over time until it was just easier to do what they wanted you to do because the punishment was just too much to bear. So let's look at coercive control through the lens of financial abuse. So money is power, and power is everything to the narcissist. So financial abuse is one of the most powerful ways the narcissist is going to control you, because without money, you can't leave. And without money, there is no freedom. So remembering the pattern of behavior where the abuse starts under the guise of caring, the coercive control starts under the guise of caring. Look at this example, which I hear all the time from my clients. And by the way, guys, if you would like to have a Zoom counseling session with me, no matter where you are in the world, please just see my website link in the description. But using the example of Sophie in my book, once again, she gets married and Justin, her abuser, encourages her to give up her studies to look after the children. It's a nice thing he's doing, and she's grateful that she can devote these early years to raising the kids. Justin sits down with her and writes out a budget. This is what I earn, and this is what we have to spend, and this is what you have to buy groceries with, and that's it. And Sophie accepts that, and she thinks that her husband is looking after the family and doing the right thing. And he also just throws in there that she's not really good with budgeting and that he's taking this awful, horrible job of doing taxes and doing all the budgets, paying all the bills. He's taking that arduous task away from her because he cares about her so much. But further down the track, she notices that he's lashing out on all of these luxury items, it seems to be from her perspective, and yet she can't get any extra money from him to buy groceries because she's really struggling with the money he's giving her. And she also doesn't know what he earns. She's got no idea what he earns. He's got his own business, and whenever she asks him, the business is really doing badly. But then she sees him buying all these luxury items like a new car for himself, a new computer, and he's always got a reason why those things are essential. And he also throws in that he's feeling a little perturbed because it seems like she doesn't trust him. And then what happened? Sophie felt bad. He works such long hours and she is complaining. And he's given her the opportunity to look after the babies and not have to work. And as he has told her many times, look at the beautiful roof she has over her head, and she's got a nice car to drive, and she doesn't want for anything, and she should trust him. And she thinks to herself that she's being a little selfish herself. Now, for many victims, the true nature of the finances and resources that were in the relationship that they were in, they don't become obvious until they try to leave. And they have nothing. Often nothing is in their name, and sometimes they'll be living in this beautiful house and driving a luxury car, or at least the narcissist will be driving a luxury car, but they have nothing, and they're trying to find a lawyer who will act pro bono. Or it becomes more obvious when they compare their situation to another more healthy relationship, and they see how dysfunctional this is. The fact that they don't even know how much money their partner earns. But things escalated, as they often do in Sophie's relationship, and it became so bad for her. It felt so controlling when she had to sit down with him and go through bank statements, go through grocery receipts to see how she could have done a little more better if she was buying things that really weren't necessary, because after all, her budgeting skills aren't that good. She's been conditioned to believe that. And she absolutely dreaded those moments because she couldn't understand why some things that she was buying weren't necessary in his eyes, and yet the luxury items on the grocery list that suited him were okay. She had to get permission to get extra money to buy the children birthday presents and clothes, and she ended up going and lay-buying those things and then getting the permission and having to bring the lay-by down a few dollars if she had overspent, or Justin believed that she had just bought too many things for the children. She was being treated like a child, and she had no access to money other than the money that he would put into an account for her, and she couldn't leave if she wanted to because she had no money. So can you see the insidious decline into complete financial helplessness that happened here and happens so often with victims? I think financial abuse and narcissistic abuse go hand in hand. Now, it might be the opposite for you, where you control the bills. I hear this as well from my clients. You have to pay all the bills and budget and make sure that there's enough money to pay the mortgage off, but your abuser is overspending on credit cards. They're going to the casino twice a week and they're just spending all the money, and you've got no money to pay the bills with. That is still financial abuse. But the decline is often so insidious that victims just don't know that it's happening, and it becomes their normal. As with Sophie, it started off under that guise of caring. It felt good that someone wanted to take that horrible burden away, and that they were doing this to look after her. It was only when it started to feel really controlling, and when she could compare it with others, and the cognitive dissonance she experienced when she saw Justin buying all these luxury items for himself and yet putting her on this tight budget where she had to account for every cent that she spent. The narcissist is a master manipulator. This is coercive control. And it is no coincidence that it happens in this fashion, because if they came out as being that controlling, dominant abuser, at the very start, it would be easy to leave. You would see it straight away and you would have more ability to escape and get help. So financial abuse is such a key part of the narcissist strategy because it does limit your escape routes. If you've got children, especially, no money to get a lawyer, no money to pay for all their extracurricular activities, and you know damn sure that that narcissist is going to put you through post-separation abuse, pay no child support with a cell phone business, and they're going to make your life hell. It makes you dependent on them. And the narcissist can pretend to be your hero. They're the provider, making you feel incapable of surviving on your own. And they can bring up that hero status of being your provider anytime you try to have a discussion around how this feels so awful. They know that they have conditioned you to feel guilty. It basically allows them complete dominance from what you wear to what you eat, because if they control the money, they control all of your choices. So through coercive control, the abuser, the narcissist, micromanages you with those resources, which is power. They isolate you, they threaten, they intimidate, and they dominate you. And because it's not loud and violent, and it is such a slippery slope into their complete dominance, people don't see it for what it is. And as I said earlier, they normalize it. It's just their life, and it's subtle and consistent, these behaviors that lead to the complete dominance. And this complete dominance is done through that coercive control, that emotional and psychological abuse. So here are just a few other examples that are just textbook from my clients that I hear, in that they isolate you from work opportunities. They don't want you to get a job and earn your own money, and they'll make you feel guilty. It's taking time away from our family, and you don't need to work anyway. I provide for this family. They'll sabotage your career. They will make it so hard for you to go to work, whether that's keeping you awake at night or making you feel bad because the kids are in daycare, after school care, before school care all the time. They will create this huge drama the night before an interview, all to stop you from getting a job and being independent. They will absolutely insist on having a joint account, and they will tell you that this is, once again, under the guise of caring. This is because we're a partnership. We should know what each other is doing with the money, and this is just what couples do. But once again, the cognitive dissonance that victims experience when they just know that there has to be other accounts out there that they don't have access to, because how is their abuser paying for all of these other things? How are they paying for all of these other bills, in other expenses, etc.? The narcissist will also use money to reward you or punish you once again, treating you like a child. If you overspend on one grocery shop, they'll withhold money from you the next week. Or if you're a good girl or boy, for some reason they perceive, they might give you a few extra dollars the next week. And you are just so grateful that you have the extra money. You think this is a nice deed. That financial dependency the narcissist creates for you on them is one of the most heartbreaking tactics, because they can dangle that financial stability over your head where you know you've got food on the table and at least a roof over your head. They'll dangle that over your head, threatening that if you leave, you can leave, but you're going to leave with nothing. If you try to stand up to them or try and make them accountable for what is clearly unfair treatment, actually abuse. Maybe you tried to leave before and you ended up going back to the abuser because it was easier. The money they did not give you in terms of child support, perhaps, made your life so much worse that victims think to themselves, you know what, even though they were awful to me on these times and these times, at least I could buy groceries. At least the children had a meal in front of them at night, and at least they could do the things they loved. And the narcissist banks on this, and they're hoping that they get that call from you one day asking them to come back, where they can gloat and say something along the lines of, see how good you had it with me? So financial abuse through coercive control is not just about the money. It's about what that money represents, which is your autonomy, your freedom, your independence, and your self-worth. Victims stay longer with their abuser because of the financial abuse so many times. They don't want to stay, they want to leave, but they literally can't afford to. So if they're going to stay in that abusive environment, then they have to come up with some survival techniques. And one of those survival techniques is to normalize their situation and minimize it. It's not as bad as it is. That is a thought process that victims engage in to survive the abuse. So if this is what you're experiencing, then one of the most powerful things you can do is to acknowledge that this is abuse. Naming it is powerful. You're not bad with money. They conditioned you to believe that so that they could dominate you. Build a safety plan to get out. Start putting little bits aside if you possibly can. Reach out to the people who love you. This is not the time to have that pride. This is the time where if someone offers you help, you reach out with both hands and you say, yes, please. Start gathering all of those important documents. Photocopy them if you can't take them. Start getting your ID, bank statements, birth certificates, all of that kind of stuff together. Speak to a trauma-informed counselor, especially one that is familiar, like myself, with narcissistic abuse. A financial advocate or some kind of domestic abuse, domestic violence service. You don't have to do this alone. And there are people who can help you with your safety plan to get out. Know your legal rights. In many countries, such as Australia, there is legislation around coercive control, and it is now recognized as a form of domestic abuse. So if your partner is financially abusing you, Legal aid services might be able to help you recover what belongs to you. It's not your fault. It never was. Narcissists are master manipulators. They don't just target your money, they target your mind and your soul. So once again, it's not actually about the money, it's about power. But that power isn't permanent. It doesn't have to be permanent, but you have to reach out and get support. You deserve freedom. You certainly deserve financial freedom, and you deserve to make choices without being afraid. And you absolutely deserve a life where you are not controlled, belittled, or punished for simply wanting to be independent. So please reach out, make a plan, take that first step. There is life and freedom on the other side of your abusive relationship. I promise you, you just need to believe that you deserve it. And that brings us to the end of another Fake Love and Flying Monkeys episode. I really hope you found that episode insightful, guys. Financial abuse is one of the strategies the narcissist engages in that I think is overlooked in terms of the impact it has on victims, because it feeds into everything else and the narcissist's ability to dominate you and control you. So if you are experiencing this, then please reach out. I would love to be able to support you one-on-one. If you would like to have a Zoom counseling session with me, please just see my website link in the description, where you will also find a link to my best-selling book, Fake Love: Understanding and Healing from Narcissistic Abuse. On that note, guys, it's bye from me for now. Until tomorrow's episode, please remember, you are worthy of love, and you are worthy of so much more than a lifetime of fake love and flying monkeys.